So if you ask anybody in Beth Tzedec, you ask anybody in Toronto, and you know, who's Rav Baruch and you know, what is he about? The immediate response that I've heard from people is that he's a pastor. He's kind, he's caring, and he's always there for you. So when thinking about how Beth Tzedec can honor Rav Baruch's 26 years as the leader of this community, and then as I was coming on board as the new senior rabbi, and what's the vision for the future, there was just this natural convergence of Rav Baruch's excellence in pastoral care. And of course, he's a great teacher and a good sermonizer, and he's just a great all-around rabbi, but it was that unique element that was really so apparent in conversations about Rav Baruch, and even in my own experience with him as a colleague. But the convergence of that and everything that I've learned in the last 20 plus years as a pulpit rabbi and then leading the United Synagogue of Conservative Judaism, USCJ, was that the convergence of this vision of why synagogues exist, which is to meet the spiritual needs of Jews and those connected to them. And so the idea of creating a center for spiritual well-being as one of the foundations for Beth Tzedec's vision of itself and the Jewish community for the future, coupled with Rav Baruch's retirement and his reputation as an excellent pastor, just seemed like a great way that we could honor our past as we engage and leverage our future. So I think the whole conversation really starts with what's the purpose of a synagogue today. The traditional reasons why people would belong to a synagogue very often don't apply anymore. Right? Synagogues used to have a monopoly on Jewish education, used to have a monopoly on Jewish life cycle. That's not the case anymore. So the question becomes is, why are we here? And what purpose, what value added do we bring to the human experience, especially to those who are identified as Jews and are connected to the Jewish people? One of the big questions that comes from all of this conversation is, how are we going to do this? So these ideas are all very nice, Rabbi, but tell me, how are you going to do it? Well, we're going to do it in a couple of ways. One is relationships are built by people. So we have to make sure that we at Beth Tzedec have the best religious, spiritual, professional, lay leadership that we can possibly imagine. And we have to invest heavily in the type of training and experiences by which that leadership has the tools to lead into this vision of shleimut and mindfulness and well-being into the future. So one is that we need more people. If there's 6,000 members of this community, we need more people that are working specifically to build those relationships, to understand who our people are, where they're coming from, what their hopes and aspirations are, what their needs are, and that we help them to provide it. Two is, every program that we do, every religious experience that we plan, every holiday that we celebrate, every life cycle that we try to elevate, has to be based on these values of relationship, on mindfulness, on happiness, on connectivity. We're going to create new programs. We're going to reposition and purpose programs that currently exist, and we're going to ask the question: are we helping people feel more connected to Judaism, more connected to God, more connected to Torah, more connected to Israel, and most importantly, more connected to each other? Everything that we do, this Center for Mindfulness becomes the keystone habit, the first rubric by which we create the Beth Tzedec of our grandchildren's dreams.